Thank you, Justine. Thanks for that brilliant introduction. And hello, everyone. Sorry, you might be seeing two of me, but I wish I could do it more elegantly, but unfortunately, this is how we'll have to watch it. Uh, so anyway, yes, so now with this introduction to some idea about sampling, and what Justine has just hinted about is errors. How do we visualize errors? And that's something which I struggled a lot for many years. And I keep trying to figure out different ways to make my mind also realize what exactly is a particular error or particular model indicating. So what we've now tried to do here is, and it worked fairly okay, is create a little Lego-based exercise. What I would like to request you all, one by one, and I'll name you, if you could just type what I'm asking for. So what I need is your and your partner, your spouse, or your best friend's height in centimeters. Make sure you mention that when you're saying your own height, because I can't see each of you. And so please mention whether you're a male or a female, and then what your height is. So if you could start start writing, let's say, Shoaib, now that you're here, what I'm going to do is, just to give you an introduction, this is a simple Lego platform. You all must know about it. And I had to do a lot of negotiation with my daughter to allow me to use the Lego pieces for this exercise. So please do send a thank you note to her later if you like this exercise, that is. Anyway, so what we will do is for every man, every male who provides us his height, I'll be using uh, four, a 4-point block, and for every woman who provides their height, I'll be using a 3-piece block. And I'll try to start binning them into these categories, as you can see, from 145 to 195 centimeters. I'm hoping none of you is taller than 195 centimeters, but if you are, you can always sit here, so don't worry. But yes, so let's start with Shoaib. Shoaib, if you could tell me your height and yours, okay, 174. So that would be between 100. So you're a male, a 4-point block, and you're between 170, 175. This is where you go. Oops. There we go. And oh, wow, okay. Baira says 183. Baira goes here. Again, a male. We have Barkat, who's 167. Barkat, I'm assuming you're a man. Please mention that because I don't get to hear it. Okay, there you are. I think you have mentioned it already. Okay, hold on. It's just going too fast for me. Shoaib's done. Barkat is male 167 would be somewhere here. Then we have Barkat Iftikhar, male 163 comes here. After Iftikhar, we have Ranjana 157, female is here goes Ranjana. Okay, then we have Bikram, male 165. Bikram G, you go here.
Are you guys watching what he's doing on his Legos?
Yeah, are you guys seeing it here? Please make sure you watch it here,
Okay.
because this is how our histogram is building up slowly. Sorry, thank you, Justine. Are you
No,
guys
I'm just
watching?
sure.
Are you
No,
guys watching
it's very
this?
cool.
If you can't
Yeah.
see the Lego, please raise your hand. We'll try to make sure that you are able to watch it. Okay, I'm sorry. Who was the last person I added? Ranjana. Bikram also is done.
Vikram, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Raki. What would I do without you? Arslan, 156 male. Arslan Sahab goes here. Then we have Rashid Rasool, male 170. There we go, Rashid. Then we have From
US is
US.
Uzma.
Uzma, okay, hi Uzma, 158. There we go. Then we have Uzma is done. Now we have Ahmed Beg, 181.
So everyone
Sorry,
for the
Uzma says
Lego.
she can't see the Lego.
Oh,
Yeah,
who can't?
Uzma,
a lot of people
Ranjana,
are saying that.
Shoaib.
So guys, try to see. Kustub has two windows. You might see there are two windows of him. So you have to put it to the grid view first. And then once you put the grid view, you'll see Kustub's second Kustub. And you can pin that video to be your your full screen. We wish we had two Kustubs in real life too. So this is a dream come true, right, everyone?
Yeah. So the way to do that would be to find that in the grid view, and as Justine says, pin that video. So let us know, please, if you're able to do that. So we're done with Uzma. Ahmed, did we do Ahmed Beg, Raki?
No, you just said Ahmed. Yeah, you said finished Ahmed.
I've done Ahmed, yes. Yes, I can see 180, more than 180.
Yeah. So you're on to Fuji now.
Fuji, 168 centimeters. There goes Fuji. Then we have
Helena, 155 female.
Helena is 155. Okay. Lego, don't break. Okay, we are stopping here for a minute. Now, how many do we have? Hold on. Justine, please.
We have 12 so far.
Yeah, Justine, you.
Oh, sorry. Female, 177.
Okay. Araki.
173, I realized I was wrong the other day.
Oh no, you destroyed our histogram.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll add myself 180, so I'll come right here. Okay, now round, Justine is done. Okay, round two. Your best friend, your spouse, your partner, whoever it is. One more person, each of you.
Kustub, do you want to show us your Histogram to share?
Yeah.
Just to
So
explain what's
if you
going
guys
on?
can have a look at this histogram here, you will see it's kind of a more or less all over the place distribution. You see there is a peak at 155 centimeters. There's another peak somewhere here, which is at 180. And there's a little bit of peak somewhere here as well. Why is that so? We'll get to know in due course of time. But now let's go to the next round.
Sorry, Bikram is also sent male 162.
Oh, Bikram 162. And there we go, Bikram. There you are. Okay, perfect. Good. Thank you. Now round two, please. Just send me one more person from each of your contacts. Friends you know, people you know. One more person, male.
And a few more females, right, Kustub?
Yeah, we are underrepresented right now. Please.
Not your spouse.
Male spouse 175. Okay. There goes Helena. Thank you. Ranjana says male 160. 160 male, right? Yeah, male 160 goes here. Thank you, Ranjana. Now, Iftikhar says female friend 157. Thank you, Iftikhar, for bringing a woman to this group. 157 goes here. All right, then we have Barkat 175. It's a male. Barkat's male friend 175. Okay, Barkat, thank you. Pooji, female friend 160. Pooji's female friend 160. Okay. Oh, wow, very even. Then Arslan Khatak, female, 175. There we go. Okay. Shoaib, male, 165. Shoaib, male, 165. There we go. US, Uzma, male, 179. Over here. Okay. More. Are we done, everyone? There we go. Ahmed Beg, male, friend, 176. Okay. Goes here. Justine to everyone, male, 185. There it is. Okay, 185.
We need still another 10, everyone. So we're at 30 samples right now.
Yeah.
So we'll need around 10 more, I think.
That's Nadia, 180, my daughter.
180, there we go. Okay. Who else? Joe Lambert, 18, male, 182. There is male 182 and female 160. Okay. Female 160. There we go. Thank you, Joe. Who else have we got? Iftikhar, 154 female. Iftikhar, 154 female comes here. Okay. More. It's building up very nicely, looking very exciting. Pooji, male friend 172. Pooji, male friend 172. Pooji, male friend 172 is here. Okay, good. How many more, Justine?
We have 32 samples, so it would be great to have at least 8 more. Sorry, we're just getting, if you guys can just send us, but real numbers, not just random numbers, because that will ruin the experiment. We want real numbers if you know.
Okay, people. From Uzma, female sister 167. Female sister 167. Okay. There we go. Yeah. 168 mother. Rakhi, 168 female, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. There we go. Who else? Justine, one more. Male, 188. Everyone in your family is so tall, Justine. Okay, hold on. Uzma, male brother, 179. All right. Uzma, 179, right? Okay. Who else is left? Okay.
Rashid, male, 180.
Rashid, male, 180. Soon I'm going to run out of male 180. Okay. Nice.
Helena, male 176.
Helena, male 176. Helena, male 176. Okay.
Ranjana, male 180.
Ranjana, male 180.
And we've reached 40 samples. Super, Kustub, after Ranjana.
Nice.
But we can ask, Bikram has one last one, 165 male.
Yes, Bikram, 165 male.
Yes.
Perfect.
And I think we're good. Amazing. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Now, take a little breath and have a look at this little sheet. What does it tell us? And let me get something else too. Yeah. Okay. Try to just have a look at what this shows us. In fact, let me get a slightly better backdrop. Yeah, even better. Okay, look at this. Well, it kind of distracts a little more, but never mind. Okay, have a look at this. Now, this is how our data is right now looking. What it really is showing us is that there's no real pattern. You know, you are ending up with two peaks. You see, one peak is here, another peak is here. So it's showing that there is one peak around 165 to 170, and then there is another peak between 175 and 180. What does this really mean? What you will find interesting is when I try to flip it over. Oh, there we go. Let's get paper. And this is where you will see something interesting happening. Now, I was using two different sizes for men and women. And what I'm going to now do is, you see there is a bit of a pattern building up behind. All I'm going to do is, in a couple of minutes, I'll separate the height of women and I'll put the men's height in one. And then let's see what actually happens. Hold on.
Don't bias our sample.
I will not, I promise, Justine.
So does this make sense to everyone, what Kustub is doing? He's separating the males and the female data points, basically, but trying to keep the same locations on the size.
All I'm doing is I'm just manually separating these two and leaving the women in the front and putting the men behind. Justine, do we know how many men and how many women did we have in the sample? I think we had a slightly biased sampling overall towards men.
Yeah, we had 26 men
Wow.
and 14 women.
Fair enough. Not that bad though.
Yeah, you see the sample size difference.
Yeah. Okay, now, there we go. So this is what we know about the height of women in this sampling scheme, where let's say it's kind of a nice mixed group of researchers representing Asia, parts of US, and so on. So you see, we can now probably start making some assessment that the height of women is really, you know, you have some who are starting from just around 150 all the way till 180 centimeters. So, but there is an average which is somewhere between these two figures. Now we're just talking about 14 samples, so you can understand it might be a little sporadic, which is how it is, but at least it's giving us some pattern. Now let me turn this over and then you have a look at how the distribution is looking for men's height. So it clearly looks like there is, again, a sort of a pattern you see. The heights are varying between, oh, you can't see it like this. Well, actually, let me just show you. This is 190, and this is 150. So I've just turned it over, but yeah, it's on the back side. So you can see there is a peak happening. What we're going to do is we're going to use this data on the Google Doc sheet that you all have, and I'll just try to share my screen and take you a couple of steps from there. But essentially, there are two important lessons we're trying to learn from this distribution. Is one, when we are trying to put everything together, there is a bit of a noise that is coming in. Now, there is a bit of a noise, and the only way to get rid of that noise is either by increasing the number of samples, of having maybe double or 3 times or 4 times more data, or by simply splitting it into 2 strata. In our case, one strata is that of men, the other strata is that of women. In fact, the same data, which looks a little up and down, what happens if I just put it together? I bin it further. In other words, if I just bin it like this, which means instead of a 5 centimeter spacing, now I have a 10 centimeter spacing. Now you look at this. It's suddenly looking a little more structured. So because there was a very small data set, we can bin it for 10 centimeters and we get a little bit of a nice little peak here. Same thing if we do it for the data on women. Here we go. And I just bin it. There we go. So you suddenly start seeing some pattern already, even though it looked a little disorganized. But the moment I changed my binning, I ended up with a bit of a pattern where it's peaking up at 155 centimeters. It's actually between 150 to 160 centimeters and so on. Now, I'm going to quickly share my other, in fact, I'll stop sharing this screen so that there's no more confusion.
Before you stop sharing, Kustup, can you
Yeah.
tell us where you think the mean is based on that grid?
So yeah,
Or
so let's do it on the in fact, okay,
Excellent.
let me do it. One second. Good point, Justine. Yeah.
I shared it with everyone, the Google Docs in the comments section. So please go forward and open it. And it's where all of the raw data that you sent us is listed, that we prepared it for you in Excel.
Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen as well, and hopefully we will all get to see it. Okay, so what we are seeing here is the same data that we collected right now, height and gender. And what Justine has very smartly done in the meanwhile, she has created this little summary of the data. What it means, we will come to it a little later. But for now, look at this. We have 26 men, 14 women. In total, we had data from 40 people. The mean height for male was 173 centimeter. In this case, if you have a look, I can show it here. If you see, look at where I am, 173 centimeter would be somewhere here. That's where the mean is coming. So you can.
Sorry, Kustup, it's the other camera. Move to the other camera, it's coming up.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
This one?
Somehow. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Fine.
No worries.
This is where
Thank
the
you.
mean is. Okay, let me see if I can. It's that camera which is coming. Okay, whatever. Well, so this is the mean of 173, which is between 170 and 180. So you can already see that mean is where the most likely average came out to be, and that's not bad. Now let's open the data for women. The mean says, if you look into the sheet, it says 164.9, which is 165 centimeters. And if you look at it, it's between these two. So because there is not not a long tail. Here, you're essentially seeing a large grouping and a heaping happening around this point. So we end up finding the mean somewhere here. Now, how does this look on a sheet? I'll just show you in a couple of seconds. But basically, this is what the averages and the means are showing us so far. You go down, median is another term which is often used. We won't get into the details now. We will have some interesting data sets to play around with it later. And that's something we will try to put together later. But median is another measure of central tendency of our data sets that is often used. And then you have standard deviation and confidence intervals. What on earth do they mean? We're just going to talk about in a few seconds. But before that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy some of this data, and just give me 2 minutes. Where is the other data? There we are. All right. Now let me show you here. So based on the first set, do you remember when we were looking at the Lego together, this is what it was showing. Can you all see this screen? Justine, is it visible?
Yeah, very nice. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So now this is exactly what we had, which was our Lego pieces put together. We had these two peaks coming up. That's exactly what's coming up in this when we put the same data on a visualizer with a histogram. Now I will show you something interesting. This is the mean height. You all remember how our mean height, as Justine had nicely calculated, was where is it? There we go. Yeah, 107. Okay, let me keep this window open here, and zoom stays here. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So you can see the mean height. Now, there is a usual way in which this is represented, and you might all have seen something that they call as the bell curve, which comes up something like this. Now, bell curve is nothing but a simple representation of how the average, or the average of an estimate, is distributed across the space. So the height that we have estimated in our exercise varies between 150 to 190 centimeters, and the average says 170, but in reality it could be anywhere in this whole panel. Now I'll quickly now show you the height of female. This is how we got the height of women. And if you see the average, why didn't it show? Because there. And mean. Why is it not showing? Just a second. There's always a bit of a mess that happens. That's because. Okay, let me just show this one at least. Okay. And let me just show you the height of the men. There's another little issue. I'll fix it and I'll show you a little later. I forgot to remove the the blank data. Anyway, just have a look at how the distribution of men height is and how it is exactly what we are seeing in case here when we are looking at our data set with the Lego. Same thing, we have binned it more closely, but exactly this is how it looked like when we started. Does this make sense? Because now we'll just take a short break and move on quickly to the next exercise. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I mean, in the worst case scenario, we'll exceed the 2-hour limit and we'll go on talking for 2 hour 30 minutes or longer if you're okay with that. But if you really have any questions, please feel free to let us know, because at each step, we would like to, slowly get going.
So Kustub, do you want me to take them through the break?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna unshare your screen.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And everyone, we're just gonna go and just to keep you guys awake, because we were worried that 2 hours is a long session. So we would like to do just a little exercise to bring you back to snow leopards, because after this, Kustub is gonna go into more explaining it with a PowerPoint and building on this exercise. So just to go back, I hope you guys can see my screen. So I want to, sorry, having some tech issues as well. I want to ask you guys now is, where is the snow leopard? Let's bring back snow leopards into focus, because you probably are confused. What does heights, what does everything have to do with snow leopards? But we trust you, it's all gonna, trust us, it's gonna come back to snow leopards. But just to remind you of why we're here, I will take a moment and try to find where the snow leopard is. And Kustub prepared this, and he nicely separated this image into quadrats. And we would like to do a poll. And we're gonna do a poll. So please, I'm launching the poll. Tell us which grid the snow leopard is in. This is our nice break activity to keep your minds awake. I've launched the poll. I hope, yeah, I see some estimates are coming in. I think Puji, this photo is from Mongolia, right? I believe so. So we've got a bias here. We've got someone who maybe actually took the picture who is in the audience. Keep going. We've got around 30% of the audience who have voted so far. Yeah, it's tricky, huh? And this is, I mean, I guess if you want us to relate back this image back to our discussions, it's all about detection. Snow leopards are particularly difficult to detect, so are very, very difficult to survey. I think, yeah, this really brings that message home. Let's see, we've got around 50% of the audience who have voted so far. We'll just take another 10 or so seconds, and then we'll do one more. Okay, I'm gonna close the polling soon. So if the other last set, just guess. It's okay to have a wrong answer, just go ahead. Choose one of your guesses. Okay, and we're gonna end the poll now. And the answer, let's see, and poll, I'm gonna share the results. And the result is correct, where most people said E. So you might see that in Puji, who this photo is from Tost in the Gobi, South Gobi of Mongolia, she would let you know that the snow leopard is right in the middle of that grid E. And he's just sitting there, very well camouflaged in the vegetation. So great job, everyone. Let's do one more, and then we'll go back to Kustub. Where is the snow leopard in this photo? So I think, Kustub, if you're correct, this is from Ladakh?
Yeah, that's not actually Ladakh. This is from Himachal Pradesh in India.
Himachal Pradesh, okay.
Yeah, and there is not just one, but there are two. So it's a multiple choice question. And but not even two, there could be three. Who knows how many are there? See how many you can get right.
So I'm going to stop sharing this poll, and go. And I think this is find the snow leopard number 3, Kustub, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's see. So I've launched the poll. Go for it. And as you can see, this habitat is completely different than the previous habitat. I mean, not completely, but very different. And this is a point that we're all going to talk about later also with camera trapping, because the snow leopard habitats do vary across the range. And this influences how we survey for snow leopards. So it's important to consider. So we have some estimates coming in. So this is a multiple choice. So there might be 2 grids which have snow leopards. I see 1, I don't know. I see 2. Okay, we've got around 40%. Let's give it another few seconds. And then Kustub, are you almost ready to take us back?
Ready, yes.
Okay, so I'll just wait a few more seconds for this and we'll go back to you. Woo! Okay, so people are estimating pretty well, but I don't know if I know the answer. So we might need you, Kustub, to come in and tell us if we're right. Let's give it another 10 seconds.
Sure.
Around 70%. Any last few votes to come in? Okay. Or let's end it. Okay, last votes are coming in now. And we are ending the poll. So we've got actually quite a mix of votes. Share the results. We have B, some said B, there were snow leopards, others said F, and then H was where most people said there was a snow leopard. H, F, and B. Kustub, maybe you can clarify.
Yeah, hold on. H, where is H? Yes, H, people were right about H, but there is also a snow leopard in F. So there are 2 little snow leopards, if you can see, just below the letter H. There's one which is sniffing the wall, and there's just one right next to it, which you're forgiven if you can't spot it. But if you go to the block F, just to the right of F, there is a snow leopard. There we go.
Okay, and none in B. Some people were saying B.
Yes, none that I know of. Who knows? There could be some. But yes.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic. This is great.
Thank you, everyone. Let's go back to Kustub, and we're in our second half of our session now.
Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen one more time. The same screen that I was sharing, because I just managed to fix that little problem I had. Can you guys still see the screen that I was showing earlier?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, so on this screen, if you look carefully, this is the height of female that I was showing. This is the little curve that shows the normal bell-shaped curve for female height, average somewhere around 165 centimeters. Here, 164.93. So yeah, we're not far. We're fairly close to that average here. Now for the male height, I quickly do the same thing again. And if I show you, that's how the male height was distributed. This was the mean, which was 173 centimeter. And the curve looks something like this. So in other words, we do have the same Lego blocks are represented now as a bell-shaped curve, which is how the normal distributions are usually typically expressed and visualized and used for various analysis. How and where this comes into camera trapping and that to snow leopards will slowly graduate towards that understanding. Okay, thank you very much.